Dear parents, without realizing it, you've hired a babysitter, one who is quietly charting the future of your child in a way that is harmful, detrimental, and almost hard to reverse. This is the point that you get to shout, God forbid. But before then, let's watch this video.
Have you ever seen a child react like this
Hey, no, give me the iPad.
after a phone or tablet was taken away from them?
What? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Oh, not right now. Mama, will bring the iPad back later, okay?
Just always in his own world. He really quiet for real unless he know you.
This is the dark future of iPad kids.
This video trended on social media a few months or few years ago, and when I watched it, it was very scary. I got my first mobile phone about 10 years old, and it was because my parents wanted to always keep in touch with me whenever they are not at home, because I had civil servants as parents. They leave the house in the morning and come back in the evening, so they needed to know if we are all home, if we've eaten and all that. But you see, as innocent as this may look, there was something that having a mobile phone, not even a smartphone, a mobile phone did to me as a boy, which was one of the things that led me to doing what I'm currently doing, inspiring digital productivity amongst children. My name is Frederick Nnamdi Ibembo. I am a tech educator, and I want to talk to us about something that it's not well talked about amongst parents: digital babysitters. Then you're going to ask me, so who is this person that I've hired, or if it's this one that is sitting next to me so that I can immediately fire him or her? But no, we're not talking about a human being. We're talking about screen time. Every time you resort to screen time as a way of keeping your children engaged, helping them to calm down from their tantrums, you have hired or is turning screen time into a digital babysitter. Now, there is a good side of it and there is a bad side of it. We're going to talk about both in this video. Let's begin with the bad. Yes, I know it sounds scary, right? But let's begin with the bad. The hidden dangers of screen time or these digital babysitters. And that is when no one is watching. I went to my nephew's house and I was actually using my phone. Their parents was not around, but the kids were watching Nickelodeon. So there was something I noticed that was happening. At a point, the volume goes up. At a point, the volume goes down. Then it piqued my interest. I was like, wait, what's going on? So I brought down the phone to watch what they were doing. Now, every time the characters is talking about kissing, hanging out, a boy and a girl is talking about kissing, hanging out, or anything that sounds profane, the mom was actually in the kitchen. So what do? They reduce the volume. All right, you can see how smart kids are these days, and that is what happens when you hand screen time or you hand smartphones, tablets or laptops or even televisions to them to watch without being guided or without any supervision. Now, that is what leads to the hidden dangers of these digital babysitters. Let's talk about inappropriate content that they get exposed to. We are all on social media, right? And if you notice, there's an increasing rise of trends that are all about sexuality. It's on the rise, okay? And it is now easily and quietly being shipped into content these days. Now, you don't even know, if you know, they're just watching cartoons. No, cartoons are also not as safe as the adult content, actually, as the adult movies. It's not. So you need to make sure that you are paying attention to the content that they're exposing to, because inappropriate content is one of the ways that is going to lead your children down the path that may not be easy for them to be reversed. The next one is online predators. Now, if you don't know, Roblox, Minecraft, all of these games now have access to the internet. It's not like when we were much younger, we played games that do not have internet on them, just download them. But now, almost everything have access to the internet, and they put on their headset and then they're playing Call of Duty. those games are now social media. And guess what? These organizations also give spaces to other organizations to come run ads on them. And that is why inside of the games, there are different ads being run and different type of content that is now being put in the games. So you see, just because your children is playing game or watching cartoons, they are not safe, because online predators are now everywhere. The next one is attention and behavior issues. Now, because I had an early access to the mobile games, all right, mobile phones, and even internet. I had early access to internet, and I was more of a reserved person growing up. I would rather want to spend more time just scrolling from the old Facebook when it came out, to one application called Ninja Power and the rest of them, that I would want to hang with people. And this actually began to affect my behavior, but thank God for grace, right? But then your children may not have the same type of mindset that I began to develop without even parents being involved. And lastly, sleep problems. We've been in classes, even in class here, where you see a child getting so tired at the early hours of the day. What did they do while they were sleeping? What did they do when they were supposed to be sleeping? What did they do in the late hours of the night when you probably should be sleeping and you expect that your child is sleeping? But they are busy on their phones, they are busy on their tablet, because you're also not keeping tabs, because you felt that the digital babysitters is doing the job for you. Now let's talk about some social media that children are now most recently exposed to, like TikTok. Man, the number of kids that are now on TikTok these days is really overwhelming. Or should we talk about Likey? All this website, all the social media platforms kind of presented to us as kid friendly, but they are not kid friendly. Your child has no business being on social media at even from 15 down, without having been given good education on what this platform is about and what they should be doing on those platforms and what they shouldn't be doing on those platforms. We've talked about the hidden dangers of this digital babysitter. Now let's talk about the positive parts, right? I used to tell kids that they are no longer too young to actually dream big. Today we have children, in their 7, 10, 12, 15, 13 doing amazing things because of what? Early access to digital productive tools or digital tools, right? Children learning how to code, learning how to speak to a camera, learning different things on digital devices. And that is the positive part. And guess what? These kids did not just get to actually want to do this. It was because of an intentional parent who guided them. An intentional parent who guided them. So if you do not ensure that you are keeping tabs with what your kids do on their devices, do on screen, or the type of content that they are watching, they are easily being handed over to these digital babysitters to raise them for you. And trust me, the internet is not kid friendly in any way. No matter how they present it, the internet is not kid friendly. Now, what are the signs that your children need a screen time check, right? If you begin to see these signs, okay, just know that there is a problem with what your child is being exposed to in terms of screen time. The first one is anger when device is taken away. Now, in our club, we always start them with a program we call digital productivity. In your homes, right, you need to practice what we call digital fasting. It is not all the time that you want your child to actually have access to mobile phones, tablets, even televisions, even laptops, right? It is not all the time. Okay. If I need to switch it over, right? Because during Saturdays and Sundays, weekends, children usually have easy access and more limited access almost to their devices. Some weekends tell them that today is no screen time. All right, no screen time. To some parents, this might already be too late, because their children have so embraced screen time that for you to do this, it could be a fight at home. But when you begin it will be easy for them to just adapt, right? Some Saturdays tell them no screen. Some Sundays tell them no screen. And when you're telling them no screen, what else are you going to replace it with? right? Then you need to actually spend more time with them. You need to actually give them probably a book, right? A physical book to read, because there must be something to replace it. If not, if you collect their screen and then you just keep them that way, that is where the tantrums may come in, right? So the first one I've said, if they pick offense, I've asked them in class even, how many of you when daddy or mommy collects your phone and you get angry? And some of them actually raise their hands. All right. So the second one is hiding what they are watching. Have you ever walked into your child on their tablet or their smartphone or on screen, and they suddenly flips it over or turns it off? There's a problem. There must be something that they know is wrong, that they are watching, that they don't want you to know. So you need to get to the root of that. Don't just overlook it. So you need to pay more attention. It happens a lot. And again, withdrawing from offline play. All right, that's withdrawing from offline activities. Children choosing to be on a device, all right, than actually to probably engage in other things that every other person is doing in the house. This may not be so in school, but it is in their homes that they have access to smartphones and tablets and all the screens. Okay, so if you see your child choosing to rather be on screen than to do any other thing, maybe than to eat or than to hang out and play or than to do any other thing that every other person in the house is doing, then that means there's a problem. Then the last one is irregular sleep or mood swings. Irregular sleep or mood swings. So for the mood swings, you see it more in amongst your teenage children, all right, especially the ones in high school. All right, so those are the ones that you see these mood swings, and these mood swings always comes from what? Or unproductive time spent on social media. In fact, when you get home, you need to speak to your children about social media. Lastly, before I wrap it up, now what can you do now? So now you've heard about these digital babysitters and how they are actually could be detrimental to the future development of your child. What can you do now? All right, the first one, you want to set clear screen time limits. This could be bypassed. All right, most of the kids that I mentor and their parents always talk about how they are bypassing it. All right, and that is why I would want to chip in quickly. If you still have a child that is below 7, you still have a very good chance of actually avoiding a lot of things that could happen in their later life that both of us may not be able to control. All right, so you don't want to gradually watch your children grow into prayer points instead of praise points, right? If you do not do this, all right. So right now you want to make sure that you are setting clear screen time, okay, and make sure you actually control it. If you do not have the time to make sure that your kids are doing this, you need to have maybe somebody else is in your house that is also helping you with this, because yes, I know it could be a busy time at work or business and all that, okay, but you need to make sure that they stick to that screen time. All right, so the next one is use parental controls. I've already mentioned the Google Family link. The next one is watch with them. Okay, watch with them. If they are watching a TV or watching cartoons, please watch. As much as cartoons could be childish, there are some things that you would actually pick up that you can use as a talking point to discuss with your children. Okay, you can even tell them, this thing that you're watching, I want you at the end of the show, of the movie, tell me 10 things that you learned. All right, so that you can learn if they did pick up some vital things from it, or if they didn't. But most importantly, try to watch with them. If they are watching something on the tablet, on the phone, on the TV, watch with them. And whenever some things come up that it's inappropriate, pause the movie and discuss it. Don't say later. Pause the movie. Get their opinion. What do you think about this? I was once in a family, in a house where the child was telling me about a particular character in the animation, and he told me this character is a bad character. He's this, he's that, and all that. I was quite impressed. I told the parents, you guys are really raising a genius here, right? So you want to watch with them. Again, create tech-free zones. Yeah, this is one of the rules I give children, all right? And I cannot actually give children this, and because I don't live with them, I don't know what they did or what they do, right? So you as a parent, you need to create tech-free zones. Tech-free zones could be the study area, if you have a study area in your house, the dining, the room. Okay. At some age, if your kids are still below 16 or 15 or 14, you can actually make their bedrooms a tech-free zone. Yeah. So that you'll be able to actually make sure that whatever thing they are doing, that you are aware. Okay, if it's time for bed, they should submit their devices, submit their tabs, or submit their some children keep their tabs just under their pillows. No, their bedroom can also be a tech-free zone. And lastly, use kid-safe platforms. There are plenty kid-safe platforms, but like I said before, the internet is never a kid-safe place. All right, let's talk about just three platforms that you may want to marry in terms of making sure that your kids are judiciously making use of the tech around them. The first one is YouTube Kids. All right, YouTube Kids is good, but like I said, YouTube Kids still have ads on them that, even though that those ads are not always so profane, but then there are some ads, even though it's children friendly, there are some things that you don't want your children to see before they will now start demanding for them. All right, the next one is Kiddo. So you can replace Google with Kiddo. All right, so same thing Google does, Kiddo does it. So Kiddo does it in such a way that it does not allow children to search anything profane or anything adulty, all right, on Kiddo. The last one is, I already mentioned Google Family Link. All right, but there are still some other ones. Okay, so Google Family Link is what you can use to monitor your children's screen time or monitor your children's devices. So it's quite amazing. There are other ones that is quite hard for your children to bypass. Okay, so you need to understand that what tech isn't an enemy, all right, but unfiltered access is the enemy here. And unfiltered access to the screen is what could make your screen time or their screen time a detrimental digital babysitter. And you need to ensure that your child understands that tech is meant to serve him or her and not him or her serving tech.